So good morning, everybody. I saw these amazing videos as I was coming up, and I think most of what I'm going to speak about was on those videos. So it makes my life kind of easier because you've seen what I'm going to talk about. But being here amongst all of you guys is also very meaningful because as we move into this whole new age where AI is going to overpower us, the noise is going to increase, we're going to be bombarded with ideas far more than we've ever been. The one thing that I want to ask all of you guys here is that when is the last time you were truly alone with your own mind and not reaching to your phone, right? When is the last time that you really felt that you could live without all the noise around you and you were comfortable with yourself? Without your friends, without your family, and most importantly, without any digital intervention all around you. Most people can't really answer that question. I was with one of the fellow speakers last night and she was telling me, what's your real process of your day and how do you ground yourself, etc. And I told her that, I meditate every morning and I went and did a course, which I'm going to talk about in these 18 minutes. And she said, oh, what kind of course was it? So I said, I did Vipassana. And she said, so how did you really do it? You have to stay quiet, right, for 10 days? And I said, yeah, you're with yourself. And she says, being quiet for 10 whole days? I'll never be able to do it. And that's one answer that everybody gives me about, being with yourself or being without any mode of communication. So what's the world we live in? The world of notifications, right? How many of you guys have notifications popping in even this second? The world of opinion, our own and everybody else's. Most importantly, and possibly the worst, the world of expectations. We've set expectations from every single person around us, right? Starting from our parents, to our friends, to our spouses and partners, to our bosses, who are never going to meet it. I'm going to tell you, you guys are students here. So be very mindful of that. And expectations from the world at large. And the last piece is this whole hustle culture that we've created for ourselves, right? We are living in this world that is, that gives pride around this entire noise of hustle culture. And where does it come from? It comes from comparison, right? We're constantly comparing ourselves and our lives to people's lives on Instagram. We also are well aware that everybody who seems really happy, traveling every single day to some different part of the world, or is wearing the latest fashion, is not really doing that in reality, but is living a, so to see, programmed life on social media. But we constantly compare ourselves to all these people. And so what happens with that comparison? We beat ourselves because we have unmet needs, we have increasing desires, and we just feel that we are short of everybody else in the world around us. And that also leads to an unstable relationship with ourselves and with everybody around us, right? All of you may have heard of low-grade fever. A lot of times, you're constantly having fever and it's not going away. And when you go to the doctor says you're possibly suffering, you have some kind of infection in your body and you're possibly suffering low-grade fever. And it's not really coming up, but it's at 9900 for several days. But what are relationships going through? They're going through low-grade anxiety, right? People are with each other, but they're also not with each other. And today's relationships are really, you wonder whether this is for you, this is not for you, how long are you going to be with each other? Is this the kind of relationship that you want to settle for? I'm staying but not staying. I'm leaving but not leaving. I'm moving on but I can't move on. And all of that comparison, constant noise has led to a huge amount of unstable relationships around us. We don't even just live in a noisy world. We live in a reactive world. We are reacting to something, someone, somewhere, every single day of our life. And that is really poor for what we call emotional wellness. So what is emotional wellness? Emotional wellness is what we are always looking for, peace, and we are not finding, right? Emotional wellness is not just happiness, but it's grounded happiness, right? Because happiness is going to be transient. It's going to come, it's going to go. As long as happiness can be found in moments and be grounded with it, it's very different. And emotional wellness is also about regulated emotions. Unfortunately, all of this social media, all of the noise has also unregulated our emotions. We are not aware of why we are reacting to things the way we are. We are not aware why we are saying the things that we are saying. We are not aware why we are ending up where we are ending up. And so it isn't just about, okay, I'll tell you, okay, you've got to be calm all the time. It's unreal, right? Because in this world, it's easier said than done to say, okay, everybody should stay calm. And I see these stickers, stay calm, stay this, stay that. I'm like, wow, right? If it was that easy. It's just about, in every single moment, not being hijacked from every single stimulus or reaction that comes our way. We don't have to react to every single thing and every single person that is said around us. And every stimulus doesn't really need to hijack us, because that hijacking, and if you can get aware about, creates what? It creates a reaction in your own body. Your body contracts, right? Have you felt your body contracting when somebody's saying something that you don't like? When somebody's saying something that is against your expectation or what you wanted them to say or how you wanted it to pan out, right? This isn't nervousness after a point, it's contraction, right? Whenever the choice of what you want disappears, you react, or your body reacts in a certain way. We shrink, we try to control, and this phenomena I got taught by my life coach for several years is called contraction, right? If you keep thinking of contraction and what it does to you, you're going to become more and more self-aware, because you'll realize when you're contracting, right? He taught me a very simple thing. He says, the minute you see that you're getting contracted, right? But that's easier said than done, because when you're contracting, you're reacting, and you're reacting and you've spiraled, forget the breath, you don't know where you are, mentally or physically, right? Because you're not responding. What are you doing? You're defending. You're defending your views of the world. You're defending your opinions. You're defending the way you want the world to be. And the minute you become defensive, you stop seeing opportunity. You stop seeing crisis, right? Churchill said, like, a million things emerge from every crisis. But when you are not aware that you're reacting to a crisis and not responding to a crisis, you're not going to be able to make the move forward. And most of our suffering doesn't really come from pain. It comes from this contraction that we create every single time when the world doesn't go according to our way. The world doesn't go to the way that we wanted it to go. We are contracted by people not behaving as we expect. We are contracted about relationships not going the way you want them to go. We are contracting about, outcomes not matching to the effort that we think we put in. And lastly, we are contracted because people refuse to cooperate, refuse to toe the line, right? How many times have you heard the word toe the line? They're not towing the line. Unfortunately, towing the line has come from this entire thing about people or the world must be exactly the way we would want it to be. But does life go like that? Has anybody had that life ever? Has any of you had the day that you planned every single time? It's very rare, right? Because life really just happens. And if we don't know how to react to life, we just contract. Because people are not really the problem. What is the problem? It's our expectation of them. It's our stupid expectations that we create from people every single day. It's our demand that we have with people that really disturbs us on an ongoing basis. Our partner should understand us. Our colleagues should behave the way we want them to be. The world should be fair. And the timing must align, right? You must get on the day you wanted to get. And the more you're born in privilege, unfortunately for most of you here, and I wouldn't say that we were worse off or better off, but for most of you here, we as parents have done the worst for you. We provided the day you wanted. And so when you go out in the world, you believe the world should be exactly like that. And when the world doesn't give you exactly what you'd expected it to give, you contract. Because the minute life doesn't align to our inner script, to what we would want it to be, we tighten up. I can tell you a little bit about my own life, right? I came from media, corporate leadership, and media, the one thing media does is glamour issues, access, influence, and a lot of adrenaline, right? All the time, because you're with popular people, powerful people. But there's a serious amount of exhaustion behind all that confidence. Every single person in media is going through their own nervous breakdown, and some show it and some don't, some accept it and some don't, right? There is a huge amount of insecurity, and most importantly, there is that word called loneliness, right? Every single person is lonely, and more in media than anywhere else, but also right at the top. They say loneliness at the top is the worst thing that happens to corporate success, right? And I went through the same journey for very, very long, but very, very early in my life. And 25 years ago, somebody introduced me to a technique called Vipassana, right? I was going through two jobs. I'd moved on from Star and I was moving on to Sony, and I had to do a gardening period, and I was just like doing nothing. And somebody said, why don't you try Vipassana? And I landed at a Vipassana center without knowing what it's going to be. And those 10 days really changed my life forever. Because every sensation that you can be aware of, and you can realize, you will know it contracts you, and you'll be able to deal with that contraction on an ongoing basis. You won't resist, you won't react, you will observe. And that observation will create that space for yourself to be able to see what are the opportunities of where life can go from here. Because really this is about giving yourself freedom, right? And freedom comes from understanding that you're aware and that you're not going to get contracted. The one thing that it taught me was that I could live life in 4 ways. One, when I'm doing well, but I'm not aware, right? And I don't have the seed of awareness in me. What is going to happen to me? Over a period of time, life is not going to go exactly as I want. Every time I fail, every time I realize that it's not going exactly as I would want it to be, I wouldn't know how to react, and I'm going to spiral downward, right? The other is, I'm doing well, but I'm aware. And I'm doing well and I'm aware, I will have the same ups and downs, but I will be able to regulate my emotions and to be able to seek that peace, that calm in every low and every high. That every high is not going to take me to another stratosphere, and every low is not going to kill me. And so this is not perfection. I will understand that this is just a milestone, right? And life is really about milestones. It's not about perfection. We can't be God, right? None of us can be God ever. So you're not attached to outcomes, but you're really working through life and not getting contracted on a daily basis. The last 2 buckets are the tough ones, right? Which is when you're not doing well and you're aware, or not doing well and you're not aware. Now, when you're not really doing well and life is not going as planned, but you're aware, you're going to be able to work yourself through those challenges and realize that this is just a moment and it's impermanent, and I'm going to find that success, I'm going to find that happiness, I'm going to find my mojo one fine day, and I'm going to stay at it, and I'm going to pivot, I'm going to realize that, there's something better to be done, and I'm going to move forward. But when I'm not aware, that is when I'm going to externalize everything. I'm going to blame the world for all my problems, and I'm going to really stay where I am and going to keep spiraling downward for them. Because that is where noise gets mistaken for life, right? And most suffering comes from here. Not because of pain, but because of unforeseen contraction that we are not aware about. So if you're listening to this, and if you're thinking, where do I really lie? Put yourself in one of these buckets, right? When is the last time you sat alone? When is the last time you're happy being yourself? When is the last time that you're okay being calm? What is your routine of mindfulness? What is your routine of awareness? And if you are doing well, but you don't have a routine, if you're doing well, if you do have a routine, either of the 4 buckets, now is the time to pick yourself up and believe that you can deal with your contractions. Because awareness is the route to discovering your happiness, your success, your joy of life, right? Life is about being happy. Life is about finding that mojo, but it's also about being aware that it is transient. And a lot of times you can't do this alone. So find a mentor, find a support group, find a person that will give you a safe space, a psychological safe space that will allow you to bloom, not to get judged, right? And that is really, really important. Unfortunately, a lot of us are never vulnerable to our closest friends or our family because, we think we are going to get judged. So find that person, just start. Start today, start now, because you are responsible for your own happiness. And, I come from a bit of a Sikh background, so they say, Apo aapne ranjan soi, which means that all of your happiness is within you. And you've got to find your own happiness. So I'm sure all of you are going to find your happiness one fine day. It's just that where you are in your spiritual journey. And the sooner you get there, the better it is. Thank you so much, and stay happy.